to maths solution. We are still on our quadratic equation series. In our previous lessons, we looked at how to use perfect square method to solve quadratic expressions. In this present lesson, we are going to look at how to make a quadratic expression a perfect square. Now, if you recall, in our previous lessons when we are talking about quadratic expression, it is an expression that has three terms: the first term, the second term, and the last term. Now, for this lesson, we want to see how to make an expression a perfect square, which means that at least two terms, the two terms will be given, and then the third term we do not know. So what must be added to those two terms so as to make the third term and then make the expression a perfect square? That is what we shall be dealing with in this lesson. Now let's take a look at the question on the board. It says, what must be added to 9x squared plus 12x to make a perfect square? So we have to look for what must be added to 9x squared plus 12x to make a perfect square. So how do we solve this problem? Let us go over to the solution. First of all, we write out the expression. In the expression we have 9x squared plus 12x. Now the question here says, what must be added to 9x squared plus 12x to make a perfect square? So if you observe, we're having those two terms and we are to add a third term. We do not know what the third term is, so let's call it k. So k must be added to make it a perfect square, and if this is a perfect square, then we can summarize its factors by writing the first two numbers here separated with a sign, and then we put a square. If you recall from our previous lesson, how do we get the first term in this bracket? We get it by taking the square root of the first term. So the first term is 9x squared. Then the square root of 9x squared is going to be equals to square root of 9 is 3. And of course, you know how to take the square root of x squared. We divide the power 2 here by 2. That 2 comes from the root sign. So that will give us what? X. So which means that the first number that comes into the bracket here will be what? 3x. Then the sign of the middle term is plus. Now, when we take the square root of this last term, square root of k, is going to give us a number. We do not know what the number is, so let's call it b. Then therefore b has to come in here. So whatever number is added here, if we take the square root of that number, it's going to give us the number that we have here. So this is the first two steps we are going to take. Now the key to getting what b and k is from the middle term. Remember how we got the middle term? Here we have 12x. To get the middle term, we have to use 2 to multiply this 3x, which is the result of the square root of 9x squared, then multiply by the result b. So this x, we strike out this x. You'll be left with 12 equals 2 times 3 times b will give us 6b. And if you divide both sides by 6, you are going to have the value of b to become 2. So b will become 2. Since you now know what the value of b is, come back to what we have here. For us to get k, it means that we must square b, which means 2 square, and that will give us the value of k to be what? To be 4. This is the step that you must follow. So from what we did on the board, we can conclude that 4 must be added to make this expression a perfect square. Now here is how we're going to write it. We say therefore 9x squared plus 12x plus 4, and that will give us, into bracket, you know, we already have 3x, then plus, don't forget what b is what, 2, then all squared. So there you have it. That is the solution to the problem on the board. Please, I will encourage you to like, comment, and also subscribe, and you always get notification whenever I post my video.